Let's transform this super muddy spot by laying down an artificial turf roll. The water just doesn't drain well in my yard, so it makes for a huge mess when it rains, and also having 4 dogs. The application is pretty straightforward. You basically roll it out and then you will adhere it to the ground. It definitely could be a 2-person job, but I was determined to do it all by myself. After you get it where you want it to be, you can actually cut it to shape it around poles, fences, sprinklers, etc. And then you're actually going to secure it to the ground by using these yard anchors that you pound in with a mallet. This honestly took the longest, but it's super easy. You basically just space them out about a foot and a half from each other and pound them into the ground. And the anchors are biodegradable in an expected 2 to 3 years. The best part about this is the grass actually can grow through it. And if you're like me and have areas that just have a hard time growing grass, it's great because it keeps the dog's paws raised off of those muddy spots. Because I'm renting, I just didn't want to dump that much money into this yard. I mean, it's uneven, the drainage is bad, but this is an awesome solution for it. This has been an absolute lifesaver because there's just so much less mud being tracked into the house and on their paws, which means more time for playing and not cleaning. Part 2 of adding an artificial turf roll to my yard to help with the mud. Because I got so much hate in my last video, I am renting. I don't want to put a lot of money into this yard, but I did lay down some seed and cover it with sand before I put the turf down. And you can see from the original roll that grass does grow through this. It's a very easy process. Once you roll the turf out, you can cut it to fit around poles, your porch, and other things. Each roll comes with biodegradable stakes that you hammer down in to keep the turf in place. This is the hardest part because my soil has a ton of rock in it, so I did have to really pound it in at times or add water so that it would be easier to go down. And yes, I'm using a mallet that came with my old bed frame. This solution is perfect for me with my 4 dogs in the house that I'm renting. I understand it's not for everyone. If I lived here, I would put in a French drain and fix the yard overall. But it's perfect for the dogs, keeps their feet out of the mud, and helps grass grow through. The turf rolls are linked in my bio, and you can also get a discount. I'm back at it again with the artificial turf because having dogs run on the same area over and over again creates mud. These smaller patches are from Amazon and they're much more affordable than buying a full roll. I had hay, but it just wasn't cutting it, so I got a few of these patches to cover the extra muddy spots. This brand is called Natura, and the reason why they're different is because they have a raised texture which keeps your dog's paws off of the mud. And it's extremely easy to install by yourself, whether you get the individual pieces or an entire roll. I'll definitely be adding a few more to different parts of the yard, but for now, this was my main problem area. Each patch comes with its own set of biodegradable stakes. Because they are lightweight, I do recommend using a soft mallet. I just couldn't find mine, so I used a hammer. I staked down all 4 corners, the middle, and then a few on the sides, but it really doesn't take much to get the grass in place. This only took me about 20 minutes. It's very easy and very affordable since they're smaller pieces. I have these patches linked in my Amazon storefront, or if you want to get a full roll, I have a 10% discount link in my bio. I had so many people comment that I should have just put a bunch of gravel down or rocks or something to help with the mud, but this is exactly why I didn't. The grass that has grown through this artificial turf is so incredible. I haven't mowed it yet because I honestly just love how evident it is that this turf works. And while I wait for the rest to grow, it's really cool to see the areas that are growing. And yes, there are some weeds. Honestly, I don't care. I'm happy there's anything growing there and it's not just a muddy, barren spot. This turf has been a lifesaver for the mud with my 4 dogs, so I'm not constantly wiping them and losing my mind. But to see it actually work and not even be able to tell that there's turf there is so incredible. I have Natura turf linked in my bio for a discount. If you can't find it, shoot me a direct message. AstroTurf kills anything growing underneath, but Natura turf actually allows the grass to grow through. When I was renting a house in Texas, this is what the ground looked like when I moved in. There were severe drainage problems, not to mention adding 4 dogs in a very small yard, along with Texas heat, makes grass impossible to grow. I started adding Natura turf along the high traffic areas of my yard, which was basically right around the porch where they would jump off. At first, I didn't even really care about grass growing. I just didn't want muddy paws tracking into my house and constantly wiping them off. Not only did my problem get solved, but I actually started to see the grass grow through the turf, which was really cool. Natura turf does not absorb the heat like traditional AstroTurf, so it is perfectly safe for kids and dogs and bare feet to walk on. And trust me, this is with 100+ days in Texas. Okay, don't judge the yard, but I was was gone for 3 months. I barely had the sprinkler set on, and this is how much growth happened from the Natura turf. Obviously, there's lots of weeds that I needed to treat, but regardless, for a Texas summer, this was absolutely amazing. This is why I am throwing away my artificial turf. A family friend had some old soccer turf they were going to throw away, so I figured why not try to put it in the yard and help with the mud. It definitely helped by acting like a carpet, but that in turn made it smell so bad, and when my dogs would lay on it, they would smell like their own urine and feces, which is gross, unsanitary, and I'd rather have mud. Not to mention it completely suffocated the ground underneath, which killed any grass and earthworms, which was super sad. But I needed to find a solution because having lots of dogs constantly run over the same areas creates lots of mud, especially when you cannot get grass to grow. I got these patches off of Amazon, and I'm going to show you just how they worked by ripping them up. They are raised enough to keep foot and paw traffic off the ground, meaning no mud, but they still are perforated to let the earth breathe, aka grass, grow. This is the perfect solution for areas of high traffic, such as a porch or a back door. And the reason I pulled up the patches in the first place was to show you that they actually worked, and because I'm laying down some larger rolls to cover more of the yard. Stay tuned for the finished project. Turf linked in my The reason I actually got rid of this turf was because of this comment. Mean Muggin has truly changed my life as a dog mom. Thank you so much, and this is exactly why I'm putting in a better turf. But I will say the comment made me reflect a lot on how terrible of a pet parent I am, so I will be getting rid of all of my dogs. I was just going to drop them off at a shelter and not give a single crap where they ended up, but I actually realized that I could profit off of this majorly. I've decided to sell them. I am charging $100 billion per dog, so if you're interested, shoot me a message. I accept Venmo and wire transfers. That's the thing, Jimmy John. I have tried to grow grass, but unfortunately when you have 4 dogs constantly running over it, it makes it very difficult to grow. This is why I love Natura turf, because it raises the dog's paws off of the actual ground itself, giving the grass the opportunity to grow through it. Dogs and I just went for a walk, so they are muddy, but for the yard itself, you can see we have some mud spots here that I need to lay more of this turf down. But I will say, when I walk on this turf, my feet are not getting soaked right now. The only spots that it will is where it's going to be uneven. So right here, the mud is coming through, and that's because there's a dip here, so the water is pooling. I would recommend putting some sand over this, and so it levels it out. You could probably also do gravel. But on the higher parts, my feet are not getting muddy. This stuff really, really does work. You can see Max's foot for reference. His foot is remaining on the turf and not going down and getting muddy. But on the lower parts where the water is pooling, it's still preventing a lot of the mud, but there is a chance it can get a little bit, and that's why I recommend the sand. Let's talk about the texture of the artificial turf I have in my backyard. If you're new here, this is the best kind of turf you can get. It's called Natura turf, and it allows the grass to grow through. As you can see, once the grass starts to grow through, you can barely even see the turf. The texture is a plastic material, but it does not hurt dogs' paws or humans' feet. I'll continue posting updates as more grass grows, but for now, this is what it looks like. Traditional AstroTurf can get extremely hot from the heat and the sun, but this does not because it is perforated. The holes not only prevent it from getting too hot, but it lets the grass grow through, and because the earth can breathe, you will not have any stinky smells, especially from dog urine. And the best part is, if you want to continue to help the grass grow, you can actually lay down seed over top of it and hose it down. The texture might not be as comfortable as regular grass, but the point is you're putting this down to let the grass grow. And yes, you can mow over this, you just need to raise your blades slightly. If you have dogs or kids or just areas that are muddy and the grass grass won't grow, check out the link in my bio for a 10% discount code and for any other information on their website. All right, guys, I guess this is it. People said instead of putting down artificial turf, I should just get rid of you. So enjoy the real world and good luck out there. Bye. I got a ton of comments saying that I should have just planted clover seed or a more durable grass, which I totally get. And probably for the average household that might have one dog, that could be an option. But I have a whole pack of wild wolves and they get crazy zoomies. They're running, they're outside a lot. In this specific area, you're not going to be able to just grow grass without them tearing it up. Hence why I love Natura Turf, because as you can tell, it raises the dog's paws just enough off of the ground that it wouldn't mess up with the grass growing, tear it up, or even harm any seed that you may lay down. I know no one watches the full length of the video, but if you are watching this, I have Natura Turf linked in my bio for a 10% discount. If you can't find my bio, you can DM me and I will send you the direct link. This stuff really works, and I wouldn't be using it if it didn't work for my crazy 4 dogs. Let's transform my yard with a better kind of artificial turf. First, I raked up all of the straw I used to try to help with the mud, filled in a few holes, and then I got to work laying down the turf. It's actually really easy. You can see here that it comes with these stakes. They are biodegradable. You just hammer them in after you roll the turf down and voila, it will stay there. I have 4 dogs that are constantly running over this area because that's where they come in and out of their dog yard, which means we have a lot of mud, especially when it rains, and it is exhausting to constantly wipe them down. And to everyone who's about to comment, well, why didn't you just lay grass seed? The problem is the dogs are constantly ripping it up with their paws. And with traditional turf, not only does it kill the ground and any grass underneath, but it stinks so bad, and I did not want to be cleaning a glorified carpet outside. Hence why I laid this Natura Turf all over my yard. I have it linked in my bio, but it is amazing because it's perforated, keeps the dog's paws off of the ground so no mud, and it lets the grass grow through it. Here is proof after 2 months how much grass has grown through, and it's ready to be mowed.